I remember back in high school watching the movie 1776, based on the musical that chronicled the events leading to the adoption of the Declaration of Independence by the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia. Now, in the movie, the delegates often talked about the heat. Not surprising given the time and place, but is that just the stuff of legend? Well, we can reconstruct the weather leading up to that first Independence Day, and though there was no organized weather observing network in 1776, we do have observations from a few individuals. The most complete come from a Mr. Phineas Pemberton from a prominent Philadelphia family. He observed temperature, wind, and weather each day around 7 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. Now, given that many of the delegates were in Philadelphia a month early, let's start there. Based on Pemberton's observations, the averages for June 1776 were 66 at 7 a.m. and 74 at 3 p.m. The lowest 7 a.m. temperature that month was 54. The highest at 3 p.m. was 82. The modern averages at 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. in June are 67 and 80 respectively. So at least the afternoons in colonial Philadelphia in 1776 were a bit cooler than today. Interestingly, this past June in Philadelphia was very close to the climatological average at 7 a.m. and almost identical, even in minimum temperature, to June 1776. But the afternoons now were warmer on average, much warmer if you compare the highest temperature in June 1776 with the max in June 2018. Bottom line, June 1776 doesn't seem all that hot to me, at least not by today's standards. Now, starting on July 1st, 1776, we also have temperature observations from none other than Thomas Jefferson, usually 3 or 4 per day. If we combine Pemberton's and Jefferson's data, we can get a pretty good idea of the weather in early July of 1776. Now, July 1st started foggy, but the sun came out and southerly breezes sent temperatures into the 80s most of the day. Pemberton reported a thunder shower at 5 p.m. To me, this looks like a typical humid summer day in Philadelphia. Temperatures stayed in the 70s on July 2nd as Pemberton observed much rain this forenoon. Winds shifted from southwest in the morning to northwest with clearing skies at 4 p.m. A classic description of a cold frontal passage. Winds stayed northwesterly on July 3rd, a partly sunny, breezy day with highs in the mid-70s. That sounds like a typical refreshing summer day behind a cold front. The temperature fell to 64 by 7 a.m. on the historic morning of July 4th, 1776. By that afternoon, winds had come around to the southwest. Temperature had risen to the mid-70s. It seems appropriate that Jefferson recorded 76 degrees at 1 p.m. and skies had clouded up. This is the kind of weather sequence associated with warm air trying to return. At least based on the available data, that first Independence Day weather-wise seems pretty uneventful to me. Now, climatologically, this July 4th will go down as one of the most humid statewide in recent memory. You probably have to go back to 1999 to find one muggier across the entire Commonwealth. Happy Independence Day. Stay tuned. The extended forecast is next.